Hello everybody, thank you so much for tuning into my YouTube channel, and thank you so much for the 417 subscribers. I am so happy. I started my YouTube a little over 2 months ago, and I'm already on 417 subscribers. I am so happy. Thank you so much for the support, for sharing it, for liking, for sending me messages on Instagram. I have received so many messages because people are so interested in coming to Korea. And one of the questions that they always ask me is, how much did you spend to move to Korea? And that's what we are going to be talking about today. We are going to be talking about money, our favorite topic. But it's not going to be a happy topic because I'm going to be talking about the money that I spent to come here. And spending your own money isn't nice. So the first thing that you should know about the EPIK application process is that it is very, very expensive. And anyone who says otherwise is either lying or really rich. And if it's the latter, then hey, do you want to be best friends? So the first thing that I spent on when it came to the EPIK application process was my TEFL course. So I did my TEFL course with International Open Academy, and I bought my TEFL course for 349 rands at that time. I bought it back in 2019, so I don't know how much it is today, but then I used Balisa Jonas's discount code, which you can find in one of her videos on YouTube. So just search Balisa Jonas on YouTube, and one of her videos she was talking about TEFL courses. Then you can find the link to her discount code on her description box. And another girl sent me a message telling me that she did her TEFL with TEFL Universal, and she said that you can buy the course for less than 300 rands, which I think is a bargain. So I'm going to put the link to her discount code on my description box so you can check that out and buy your TEFL course. One thing that I always tell people is to never buy a TEFL course that's over 500 rands. Don't go for a TEFL course that costs you thousands and thousands of rands, unless if they give you in-class lessons, then yeah. But if you are only doing an online course and it's supposed to be 120 hours, by the way, just try to find the cheapest course that you can find. And the second thing that I spent on was passport pictures. So I spent 40 rands. I took my passport pictures at Fortafest, and they cost me 40 rands for 4 pictures. But then I asked them to email me the pictures because I knew that I was going to use one of the pictures for my EPIK application. So always ask them to email you the pictures so that you can use them later and so that you can just print them out later. The third thing that I spent on was my PCC. So I have already spoken about police clearance certificate in my previous videos, where I was talking about all the important documents that are required for EPIK. So if you have not watched that video, I suggest that you check it out. For PCC, I spent 150. And number 4, it was my SACA degree verification. I also spoke about this on the previous video, but then I spent 610 to verify my degree. And then number 5. So in order for you to understand what I'm about to say, I need to give a little bit of a background story. I applied for the EPIK program twice. In January, Korea banned UK and South African citizens from entering the country, and I should have left South Africa in February, but because of the ban I couldn't leave, so I had to apply again for the EPIK program. But then EPIK, I guess they felt bad for the UK and the South African people who had already gotten into the program but couldn't leave because the country banned them from entering. They deferred us to their August intake, so I had to do my PCC again. So I actually did my PCC twice. I spent 300 rands on my police clearance certificate. So When I applied for the first time with the police station, I wanted to apostille my PCC. I asked Postnet to go to the Criminal Record Center and collect my PCC, and that cost me 150. And then they took my verified degree as well as my PCC and sent them to Derco for them to be apostilled, and that cost me 400 rands. And then afterwards I had to ask them to courier those documents back to me, and that was 100 rands. And then another thing that I did, I had to send all of my documents after I passed my interview to my recruiter who is in Cape Town. So my recruiter was Gold Key Education. I use Gold Key Education because they are based in South Africa and they really helped me a lot with my application process. So I had to send all of my required documents to Cape Town, and that cost me 185 rands with Postnet. Okay, everybody? It is a lot of money, yes. And then after I sent my documents to Cape Town, my recruiter then sent my documents and other applicants' documents to Korea. They were in charge of that. Thank God, I didn't have to pay for that. But yeah, so they paid for the courier from South Africa to Korea. And then I had to do an Xray, a chest Xray for the visa application, and I did that at a Mediclinic, and that was 895. So this one, it depends on the hospital. So some people paid like over 1,000 rands, some people paid 600 rands, and I paid 895. So you just have to ask the hospital closest to you how much it costs to get it done. So it could be more, it could be less. After I got my Xray, I then went to the embassy to apply for my visa, and the visa application was 900 rands. And then after I got my visa, then I bought my plane ticket. Oh, I was so happy when I bought my plane ticket. So my plane ticket, I bought it for 8,895. So just look around, like ask different travel agents about cheap flights, like look for flights online. Just do your own research and find the cheapest flight you can get. And then I finally left South Africa and I was in Korea. When I got to Korea, I had to pay for quarantine. For quarantine, I was charged 20,503 rands. And then my bank back in South Africa, hint hint, SB, they charged me 564 rands for international transaction fee. Yeah, so in total for quarantine, I actually spent 21,067 rands. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, moving on. And then after quarantine, I had to go to the orientation. At orientation, you have to do a health medical checkup. And that was 80,000 won, which is 1,007 rands for a health medical check. And then after the health medical check, I had to do my alien registration card, or ARC, which is an ID for foreigners in Korea. And for that, I spent 380, so it's 30,000 won. And then I finally came to my town that I was placed at. And when I got here, I experienced a Korean surprise. So there's this term, when you come to Korea, you'll know what a Korean surprise is. Like there's a lot of things that happen that you didn't know about or didn't expect. That is the Korean surprise. So the first day I moved into my town, I experienced my first Korean surprise. So when I moved in here, I was told that I have to pay a guest deposit of 300,000 won, or else gas will not be installed in my apartment. And I asked, I was like, why do I have to pay such a huge amount? And they were like, it's because you are a foreigner. Oh my god, I was so sad. So 300,000 won, right now it is about 3,800 rands. So yeah, that was the money that I was going to use to settle into this country, but then I had to pay that for a guest deposit. So when you get to Korea, you realize that everyone's situation is different. Most of my friends did not have to pay the guest deposit. They were even surprised. They were like, what is a guest deposit? I know that another person had to pay it. So from our group, only 2 people had to pay guest deposit, and unfortunately I was one of them. And I was not prepared to pay the guest deposit because it's a huge amount, 3,800 rands. That's the money that I could have used to settle into this country comfortably. So my first month in Korea was very hard. Oh my gosh, it was very, very hard. Woo! Yeah. And another thing that I had to spend on was my temporary SIM card. So this one, you can buy it before you come to Korea, and yeah, you can buy it in South Africa. I did not feel the need to buy it in South Africa, but then when I got here, my co-teacher was like, you need to have a SIM card so that I can be able to call you, that we can communicate. So we went to SKT, which is like one of the networks here, and I got a temporary SIM card, and I was charged 40,000 won, which is around 500 rands for that. So I spent that. I also spent that the day I moved in here. So the day I moved into this apartment, I spent a whole lot of money that I was not prepared for. Okay, so the SIM card, I was kind of prepared about it, but the guest deposit, even today, I'm still pissed. I am still angry about that. But I was told that I will get it back when I move out. But no. I was not prepared to spend that much money. So I'm still angry about it, even though I'm gonna get it back. But okay, let me be composed. And for the first month, how much money you will need. So it depends on your spending habits, and it depends on what you like to eat. So since I had already spent so much money on the guest deposit, I'm sorry, my first month I ate a lot of noodles. Like, I was eating a lot of noodles. Like, noodles are so cheap in Korea. Oh, I did not buy fruits. The only fruit that I bought was bananas, because fruits in Korea are so expensive. Like, fruits are flipping expensive. So I only just bought bananas, and I bought cereal and milk. So I think for the first month, I spent around 1,000 rands. And that was because I was like being very frugal with my money. So you can, like, if you want to buy like nice grocery, buy like meat, which is also very expensive. Chicken is really cheap, but then like beef, if you're eating beef on your first month in Korea, then you have money. You are rich, you have money. So I eat lunch at school. The lunch at school is it's heavy. They give you rice, soup, meat, and a lot of things. So because of that, I did not cook a lot when I came back home. So sometimes I would have like bread, or I would have cereal for dinner, because I don't like to eat heavy meals for lunch and then heavy meals for dinner. So the lunch at school really helped me a lot. When you get to Korea, just, yeah, do tell your co-teacher, my God, Sakua. Do tell your co-teacher that you want to have lunch at school. It really, really helps. So for the first month, when it comes to grocery, I think that 1,000 to 2,000 rents is enough for grocery. Another thing that helped me a lot was because I brought a lot of snacks from South Africa, and I also brought mealie meal, so I ate a lot of pap as well my first month here. And if anyone wants to be generous and wants to bring me 1 kg of mealie meal, I would really appreciate that. Like, please. So I actually wrote down everything that I spent on from when I applied until I got to Korea and got my first salary. It's all here. I wrote it down. And after I calculated it, I got 41,383 rents. So that's how much I spent to come to Korea. So the nice thing about EPIK is that EPIK gives you a settlement allowance and a travel allowance. So the settlement allowance that they give you is 300,000 won, which is around 3,800 rands. And this money is supposed to help you to settle into the country to buy all the things that you need. But then now the thing is, as I said, every situation is different. Other people got their settlement allowance a day after they got their bank accounts, but some of us, like myself and my other friend, we got our settlement allowance with our first salary. So it's always good to not rely on the settlement allowance to help you for the first month, because you might not get it until a month later. And even with the travel allowance, so EPIK gives you 1.3 million won. Yes, I don't know how much that is at the moment. Let me check. So 1.3 million won is around 16,000 rands. So this amount is fixed. So if you got your ticket for 7,000 rands, then you're still going to get that 16,000 rands. But then with quarantine, you are not reimbursed for quarantine. So it's still very expensive, even though you're going to be reimbursed your money, especially if quarantine is still in place. I don't know if the quarantine rules are going to change, because I know that with other people from other countries, if you are vaccinated, you don't have to quarantine. But then because South Africa is viewed as a high-risk country, even though you have been vaccinated, you still have to quarantine for 14 days. The EPIK application process is very expensive, guys. So it would be nice for you to save up for it so that you can move into this country and also be comfortable into the country. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the end of my video. Thank you guys so much for watching until this far, and thank you so much for the support that you have given me. Do like and share this video with other people who are interested in coming to Korea and teach here. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do. So thank you guys so much for watching. Do enjoy your day. 감사합니다. 안녕히 계세요.